hello. How is everyone? I hope you're well on this stupendous Saturday. That's it, it's a weekend, baby. I suppose it's like the next best thing from the midweek hump. The midweek hump, we look forward to that, and we all love it when it gets here, but then it's gone. And then we have to get to the weekend. I know the weekends are not brilliant for everyone, because some people still works, like yours truly. But look, we can make it amazing by sharing some time together. Surely that's amazing, right? Is it worth a like? Is it worth a subscribe? Who knows? But I think about 60% of you are not subscribed. Travesty. Anyway, let's get into it. As we talk again briefly on what has happened over the last few days, we talk about the court hearing itself and the subsequent fallout after different people's understandings of what happened. Because look, some people will turn around and say, the hearing was a bit of a waste of time. Media have gone in a little bit and said, look, Anne Taylor's attempts to prove that the prosecution were hiding stuff or whatever was wrong, and she didn't really prove anything, and we'll stick a pin in that. And we've got some people who says, look, it would appear that many people are misunderstanding what Larry's, Mac Larry, meaning Mary, so close, and I love bad boys. Anyway, I digress. So they're trying to say, look, Mary didn't create any logins or anything like that, because he wasn't the person who was heading it all up. He was just the person who'd been like,
can you just do this for me?
And he would obtain some information that was relevant to the situation. So like the hearing, he was contacted and said, we need this, and this for this hearing. So he just logged on quickly, done his screenshot, like I said yesterday. He then quickly done his screen record, and, you know, they that's what they had. But I think people are missing the bigger point here, the bigger picture. And that is that we're not only like a few weeks down the line, we're a year and a half down the line. And we have had multiple motions to compel filed by the defence. We have seen Anne Taylor and Eliza Masseth both turn around and say that they believe Bryan Kohberger is innocent of this crime. And I did touch on this yesterday. It is unusual for that to happen. Any degree of credibility that they have can be ruined by making those sort of statements in the wrong, in the wrong place. And saying that inside a courtroom for a guy who's being accused of a quadruple murder is quite intense and should be taken incredibly seriously. But they've filed these motions to compel because they're saying, look, we believe he's innocent, and we're yet to have any evidence provided to us that proves that he should be here. And I ask everybody out there, how can that be? How can a defence team be this far down the road and not have all of the evidence that's pertinent to not only the prosecution's case against the client, but for the defence to be able to fight whatever's coming? Because it would appear that what the statements are, what is being said, what is trying to be explained and expressed by the defence team is, look, we believe our client's innocent, and we believe he's innocent because you've not yet proven that he can be guilty. Now, there'll be people out there who do still believe that Bryan Kohberger is guilty. And I spoke to someone in comments yesterday, and I'm going to do a separate video just focusing on that, and it's just going to be a short video later to detach from this. But a valid point, all right? But with respect of what's happening in this situation, in the courtroom itself, what Anne Taylor was showing was that there seems to be still a scenario where, when it comes to providing evidence against Bryan Kohberger and this crime, there seems to be a degree of sort of scurrying about and last minute sorting stuff and picking and choosing and being very selective on what is being shown. And I think that's what Ann Taylor's trying to show. She's trying to give the public an insight into what the defence is dealing with and how the prosecution are operating. You've got people who are seemingly, they're still scurrying about trying to find stuff. And it was only, what they say, it was like Wednesday where they found some other footage that they didn't know existed. But when it comes to this trial, right, the PCA, the probable cause affidavit, so they had stated in there that the prosecution had said that at this stage, that was irrelevant at this stage, and it would appear that that has got some connection to the grand jury indictment. You know, as soon as the grand jury indictment becomes the primary reason for Bryan Kohberger being inside that courtroom, that's why the probable cause affidavit that was filed as part of the court proceedings kind of comes irrelevant, because he's there because of whatever evidence and whatever information was shown to the grand jury for them to indict him. And I think this is what the issue is here. The issue is here is the defence don't seemingly have all of the information around what the prosecution had given to the grand jury for them to indict him. And if it's just what we're seeing today, then the question is, how did the grand jury indict him on such a minimalistic amount of evidence? Because anybody who is worth their soul will understand how weak what we currently have is. And Ann Taylor is as if she's screaming out and saying, how is this? How are we here? How is my client here if this is all you've got? You must have more. You can't seriously only have this and believe that this is strong enough to not only convict, but to potentially send a man to his death. And again, you can't have your cake and eat it. You can't turn around, because remember, we're the laymans. We don't understand everything. There's some people who have got a higher level of intelligence and understanding of how the law works. Maybe they've been through the system and understand it more, and maybe they're just smart people. Maybe they're just smart people who can't get on with people. But look, when it comes to the legal professionals and the people who are within these four walls, they should know exactly what they're doing. They should know exactly what they need. They should know what things are pertinent to the case, what are not pertinent to the case. They should know what the strength of their case is as they sit there. And as much as a defence attorney can look at a piece of evidence and think, well, that's weak as piss, that's not going to go anywhere, and the jury will have a field day with it, the prosecution can do exactly the same and think, this isn't enough, we need more, and there we have it. So Ann Taylor is trying to give everybody an insight into, we're still here, we haven't seen any more than what the public likely sees themselves, and when we ask for stuff, this is what we're up against. These are the people that we're up against. This is what we're getting. Why are things taking this long? Why are things being done in this manner? And why is a simple question of give us what you have and all of what you have, what you are looking to bring to court in order to assist in convicting my client, give me it. Give me it all. Why isn't that forthcoming? Now look, there is an issue in the background, and that is the September deadline for discovery. Because ultimately the things like the cast and the FBI stuff is tied into this September deadline. Whereas the deadline for the Bryan Kohberger's alibi, for instance, that is tied into a much earlier deadline, and it seems that those two things are tied into one another, and maybe that is something that is being done strategically. Who knows? Who knows? I suppose what Anne did also demonstrate is that what they're trying to say is they could log in and put all the information in from Brian's cell phone and run the entire report again and get a full cast printout. But if that's the case, and Anne is demonstrating that this could be done, that Mary could log on, he could just enter it in and do it, then why still won't the prosecution hand over the entire cast report? Why are they saying that they don't have access to it? They can't, make the FBI go any quicker, for instance? This is all stuff that I don't know. I'm not a legal professional. But both sides of the fence are arguing the court hearing, arguing what their interpretation of what they saw were. Some people, again, think that Mary was just being wrongfully attacked. He didn't have to log in. He didn't have to create a session. He just had to jump on and do a bit of work to grab what was needed for the hearing or whatever, or what was needed at any one time. So he wasn't the lead in it. He was just assisting. And I get that. But what I don't get is that Anne Taylor still doesn't have everything that she needs, clearly. And at this far down the line, it's my thoughts that if you're accusing someone of a quadruple homicide and they could be facing execution for it, then at the very least, a year and a half down the line, his defence team should have access to all of the evidence that you are going to provide at court in order to convict and potentially kill your client. Now, if I'm wrong, let me know down below. And let me know why I'm wrong. And I will catch you all in the next one.